Hi guys. So I got asked on Instagram if I could do a girl talk video in regards to my journey when I was single and basically like how I found my now fiance, Valentino, and then I did a question poll. What does that call on Instagram? Well, you know what I mean. And people like submitted some questions because I wanted to get a little bit more granular on like maybe like what it is that you guys wanted to know. So I just wanted to like briefly touch on like my journey and then more so answer the questions. When I started on my single journey, my first and foremost most important thing that I wanted to do was just focus on myself, which is I think something that a lot of people obviously want to do. For me, it was like I don't even want to entertain the idea of anyone. Like I really need to do the work to figure out what conditionings I have like programmed that kind of let the previous relationship I was in fall apart, what expectations I have as someone in a relationship for like my partner that I will not bend on moving forward. Like, you know, just kind of like sitting down with myself, visioning the future life I want and kind of reverse engineering it and having the steps of like, okay, I want to be this type of person in this kind of relationship. What does that look like? So really getting super micro on your values, your morals, what you're going to stand for, what you won't stand for. Oh my God, that person running right now in the cold is kudos to them. Yeah, so kind of just doing a lot of self-worth work. You can feel like really down after a relationship, so I feel like that's really important. I did a lot of inner child healing. I did a lot of shadow work. I am the first one to take personal accountability and realize like I'm not perfect. I need to fix a lot of things that I maybe was too stubborn on, or like maybe I'm like this sort of way and this person kind of called me out on it, and instead of just like butting heads and arguing, maybe I should like take a step back and like work on myself. Like, why am I that way? Why does that trigger me? So that's the type of work when you take a step back, when you're out of a relationship and seeing all the places where you were at fault and kind of just not like fixing yourself, but bettering yourself. And more importantly, recognizing those underlying patterns that made you react a certain way or be a certain way in that relationship and not be that way moving forward. So basically just evolve into a better version of yourself, a more healed version of yourself. And when you're in that state, that's when like the right person's going to come to you. You have to basically, in my mind, or like what I really practiced was like increasing your vibration and saying no to a lot of things that don't serve you, as tempting as it may seem. If it's not aligning with the life that you want, you have to say no, because when you say yes to those types of things, it's like taking up space for the things that you actually want. Now the things that you actually want in your life, I can't actually make it in. I also did therapy when I was in my previous relationship, but also out of that relationship. I like kind of like doubled down on therapy. I went through a lot of low points during my single journey, but I think a lot of that is because of turning 30. I think that is just like a pivotal thing in and of itself. So I was getting super introspective about that and like kind of down on myself, like thinking I'd be so much further along in just areas of my life. Also, running a business on your own, it just gets really exhausting, and I just like didn't take a break for a long time. And then once that breakup happened, that's when I kind of took a break with everything in life and just focused on myself. So that was tough, like trying to juggle having zero desire to work, but literally having to work because you're the one that's running everything. And then being away from friends and family, even though I have a really good support system, really amazing friends. I'm like 90% of my friends are still friends that I've known since I was like 5, 6, 7 years old. So really great support system, but lived very far away from them. So lived halfway across the country from my parents, my family, my cousin. You know, it was really tough. So I just felt very alone. Physically, I felt very alone and isolated. So all of those three things kind of magnetized my evolution in that single girl journey. But one thing I did that I was very proud of myself for doing is I never strayed from my morals and my values. And I feel like when you're single It can get kind of defeating when you're going on bad date after bad date, or you're just like, okay, this guy, he's like really great, but he's just not it. It's very easy to settle. And I was just very gung-ho on who it was that I wanted to date, like date for real. And I would not budge on those buckets that I put this person in. So say there's like 5 or 6 buckets. If the person you're dating is only fulfilling like 3 out of those 5, it's a no. So even though that person seems really great, like they have a great personality, there's just too much that we don't align on. Maybe he's not ambitious enough. Maybe he isn't into health and wellness. Like, immediately no. Maybe if I was younger, like 23, 24, I would give that person a shot, because who knows? But as you're older, I think it's better to just stick and be very rigid with what it is you want, and then that's how you find that person that's correct for you, because you're not settling. And a year from now, a year and a half from now, that person that might have been really great but just not it, if you stick with them, 2 years down the road, you're like, okay, this isn't working. Yeah, because you didn't stick with your non-negotiables. You bent your knee to 2 of the major things that were an absolute, and now you're wondering why that relationship isn't working or why you're single again. So even though it was really hard in certain situations I was in, like, am I making a mistake? Because this person seems pretty perfect, but they're just not it. Maybe it's like I didn't think they were funny, but like everything else was perfect. No, you have to say no, and it kind of sucks and you feel like the bad guy, but that's allowing the space for the right person to come into your life. And just being very upfront and honest with people. Like, if it's after the first date you get a really good feel for the person, go on that second date. And if after the second date it's not a F yeah, then it's a no. And you have to be very courteous of people's time, especially as you're older, because we don't have a lot of it. And people who are serious about finding their partner, I think, would really appreciate that. Like, at least that's the feedback I got, where I'm like, hey, listen, like, second, third date, like, went really great. Like, you're a great guy. Like, wish you nothing but the best, but like, I just don't think we mesh. And even if it catches them from like left field, like they think you had an amazing time, like, you just got to do what's right for you. And sometimes it's hard as a female, because you just feel like you want to like people please, and just like, oh, maybe if I just go on one more date, like I'll really get the feel. No, if you're not like, whoa, socks blown off, then it's just a no.
I blew your socks off.
Yeah, you did blow my socks off. Like, for example, after my first date with Tino, we just knew, and we went really hard on the questions. Like, we were taught, which is also very important. Like, first date, if you're a little bit older.
Who, though?
You texted me. Okay, well, this is the backstory. Tino asked me out.
Lie?
Tino asked me out. I said no.
To make everything go faster.
Second time, I texted you.
We're not going to say details, but who you did.
Okay, you texted me to go out. I said no.
Okay.
And then fast forward 4 months.
You texted me.
I texted Tino, hey, because this is when I was having a bad time in Texas, like going on these first, second dates and just like, like not vibing. So I texted.
Texas guys are cool.
Texas guys are really, really great. They're super nice, super cordial, but they don't have that sarcasm. They don't have that sense of humor, that personality of like an East Coast guy, which I grew up with and really like and really wanted. It's almost like they're very nice, but they're very vanilla. And that just gets boring really fast. I need someone to put me in my place. Just, because I will walk all over you. So if you don't put me in I need someone to put me in my place. Otherwise, I'm going to be just a little brat. But yes, I texted Tino a few months later and was like, hey, about that date. And then the rest is history. But on our first date, we went deep. We didn't stay surface level. And that's another tip when you're going on these dates.
That's like what I always did, though. I didn't do anything like special.
No, but a lot of people don't go deep on the first date because they don't want to sound like a psycho.
There's nothing else to talk about.
I think there is a lot to talk about.
No,
you're meeting this person for the first time. What do you do? What do you like to do?
Yeah,
Where have you traveled?
Okay, but yeah.
Where are you from?
But then, like, that's like.
Oh, I can yap. I can yap for hours about surface level things.
Oh, I cannot.
So, and it's easy for a girl to. I can go on 3 dates, 4 dates, 5 dates, and still not really know. Do you want to have kids? What are your political views? And that is a mistake.
I'll know that in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, you need to go deep. So dating in your 20s, like, yeah, sure, whatever. You have so much time. Mess around, ask surface level questions, go on 3, 4, 5, 6 dates until you know. But like when you're older, you kind of need to like know quick if you're not trying to waste your time. And with that comes questions like, are you Democrat or Republican?
I'll know that in the first 10 minutes.
Just kidding.
I'm not kidding.
No, Tino's
I would
not
know that
kidding.
In the first 10 minutes.
We were
if you're
talking
liberal, stay the fuck away from me.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So we were talking about like nuclear family, like getting torn apart by government. Like we were talking all sorts of things, like values, morals. And after that, I knew that me and Tino just aligned so perfectly. But I also was nervous because we lived very far apart. So I was like, ooh, am I really gonna start dating someone that I've known for 10 years and we live 2,000 miles apart?
I think the other key for men is just to be authentic. Don't try to be someone you're not. Don't try to pretend to have money that you don't have or do have, you know, like just
be yourself.
Just be yourself.
And that sounds so corny.
No,
but
it sounds easy. It's really not, to be honest.
It sounds easy and corny.
The more
but it's not.
just honest and authentic and just like whatever. Like whatever happens. If she, I don't know, if she likes me, great. If she doesn't, you know, fuck off. That's kind of my path. I went on dates, and when I was authentic myself, girls loved it or hated it. And the girls that didn't like it, fuck off. The girls that liked it, and it was my choice to move forward or not.
Yeah. You should never want anyone who doesn't want you. Even if you think that guy's perfect, whatever, like just don't chase that. It's giving out a bad energy.
It's gonna take me 16 trips to get these.
I'm gonna stay in the car and finish these questions. It's probably like a couple of days later. I didn't end up being able to answer those questions, but we just got back from, well, we're driving back home from a wedding in New Jersey, which was incredible. And we're gonna answer the questions, but I figured to have Tino answer the guys, like from a guy's perspective, so it's like a him and her kind of situation. Probably not in the best mental state right now to answer questions. I feel like I can't even like form a sentence. I'm so exhausted from this wedding. First question. Did I ever have any doubts with Tino? How did I know he was the one?
No doubts, baby.
I mean, once I went on a date with him, I had no doubts, but Tino, I've known Tino for a long time, and I've known a different version of Tino, and I would never date that version of Tino. And some of my friends also know that version of Tino. They didn't know this new version of Tino. How many times can I say version of Tino? Tino was kind of in the group chats when I was single. Like I always like kind of brought him up. I was like, I don't know. Like I feel like I would go on a date, blah, blah, blah. And they were just like, okay, yeah, okay. Like kind of just like shot it down. And finally, when I was like, wait, no, like I'm actually going on a date with him, they were like, are you sure? You know, blah, blah, blah. And like, I've seen some things with my own eyes too. So I'm like, no, trust me, I know. I'm just, you know, just going to go on a date and like see how it goes. And obviously it went very well. Taking chances when you are single, like taking chances on people and not just like judging a book by its cover and saying automatically no. Had I done that with Tino, like we wouldn't be engaged and planning a wedding.
You make it sound like I was a serial killer.
No, you weren't, but you were just an ex-promoter who always had girls hanging off of him and, you know, maybe a little bit of a reputation.
Listen.
You know? Let's call a spade here.
Yeah, but the reputation was not real.
Either way, a reputation is a reputation. Like, what if I had a reputation? You know, and like, you wouldn't know if it was real or not. You know, so like roles reverse. Like I hope that you would give that person a chance and like see like, oh, that's actually not like how they are at all. But another thing too is because Tino and I have been like friends for so long, I saw this evolution, and also I worked with him on some new trade projects and things like that. So like I was able to see like, oh, he's changing. He's got into like, he quit working at like clubs. He started Nutre. Like I saw that he was getting into health and wellness, getting into like meditation, not going out, like really focused on like just himself, his family, his business. So like it was nice to actually see that evolution of like who he was to like who he was like trying to become. And I recognize that, and that is a reason why I gave him a chance. But in the beginning, yes, like I had some doubts, my friends had some doubts. I just didn't know what to expect. You know, I didn't know. But then after that first date, all those doubts were erased, and I was like, oh, this guy is fantastic. How did I know Tino was the one? Well, because I've never felt more comfortable with a guy ever in my life, like just comfortable in my own skin and just truly being who I am. But also Tino makes me the best version that I can be. And I hope I bring out the same in him. Like he's just always holding me to like a higher standard because he loves me. He sees the potential in me. He just knows what I'm capable of, and he's able to bring that out in such a loving way. Even before we started dating, when we were just friends, Tino would randomly text me saying, hey, I'm really proud of you, with like a heart emoji.
Badass.
Are you kidding me? Like just, and not like once or twice, but like several
Pretty
times.
consistent.
Yeah, pretty consistent when we were just friends, and it would come out of the blue. It'd be like,
honestly, I had no intentions. Truly. Dead serious.
you know, I believe that. I know, I do believe, because you're such a good person to your core.
Okay.
And I feel like people just don't see that. But I mean, I got glimpses of it. That's why I'm like, oh, this kid's changing. Like, wait, this isn't the Tino I met back in 2015, 2014. Like, okay, maybe I need to give this kid a shot. Don't judge a book by its cover. Give people a shot. You
And my
never
cover
know.
wasn't that bad. I had if you guys don't know who I am, I had a entertainment company for years. And when you have those type of companies, there's two types of people. There's like the David Grutmans who are in it for business and they're networking and opportunity and blah, blah, blah. And then there's the other guys. The other guys, girls, clout, you know, all the bad side of the business.
Yep.
So me, I barely drank. I don't think anyone's probably even seen me drunk. But I really, really barely drank. I don't do drugs. Never done drugs. And I really did it for money. And I did it for business. I did it for opportunity. I never stayed out late. I never went to after parties. I didn't do any extra shit than what I had to do. I did my job and I left. I packed places and I left. I made the business's money and I left, and that was it. So with that, you know, when you talk to so many people, you talk to girls, you talk to athletes, you talk to celebrities, you're connecting a lot of people, doing a lot of that stuff. My reputation, I also had a different relationship at that time. But when I had that reputation, people would assume, since I was always with celebrities, athletes, ton of girls, ton of females, they would assume that I was like doing bad things. But truly, I was not. I was just making sure that people are having fun, connecting the right people to make sure other people are having fun. It was a lot of that. I was a lot of people pleasing.
Yeah.
And with that, on social media, you have to post that stuff, right? Like, you have to post that you're with this celebrity and artist. You have to post that you're with these other girls and all this stuff, so other people contact you and go out, and it's just like this big cycle. But it's interesting because I was posting that stuff, but that's not who I am. You know what I'm saying? I had to live a life and show a life that was for my business, but it wasn't like who I was. If that makes any sense. You know what I mean? So that's what brought this reputation, you know? Oh, Tino's with a bunch of girls all the time. Tino's with a bunch of athletes all the time. Tino's with a bunch of celebrities all the time. Tino's hanging out with this girl, that girl, blah, blah. None of it is real. It was just a facade that would attract more people, and it worked.
That's where the doubts would arise, because that's the era that I met him in.
Just to give context, I'm not a fucking psychopath.
No, he's not a psychopath. It's just like, okay, when you see a guy with a lot of girls, you know, rumors, things like
Makes
that,
sense.
it's like, okay, how do you know someone's the one when you're dating? Obviously.
Couple things. Like, if you put yourself in, I'm an overthinker, so if I put myself in a scenario where, like, if I it's falling, if I like, would I be upset if I didn't have her? That's kind of like number one. I'd be like, would I be upset if I didn't have her? number one. Number two, would I be upset if like she went and hooked up with someone else? That was like number two, one and two. And then just like compatibility wise, like you kind of just feel it. I wouldn't say it's like it's just a feeling like, ooh, it's like a blend of like major comfortability and like sexual tension and attraction. It's like a blend of those two. It's like if you're super ultra comfortable and ultra attracted to that person, and then the third is probably like just like common ground, you know, like kind of like hitting those non-negotiable moment, like those tasks that you have. Like again, I can't date a liberal, you know, boo-hoo, it is what it is, you know. So like that was one of them, you know. Family stuff, like there's certain things that like I have on my, you know, list, right? That she checked those, you know, I checked those for her, and then it's just kind of like, that's it, you know, like that's really all I needed to see her do. And then, you know, you give it a shot, right? And then if things change or her personality changed during that like kind of like vetting period, then okay, like maybe I was wrong. But after that kind of like vetting period and your thoughts and like your feelings were accurate, it's like, okay, that it is what it is, you know. And I dated. I was single for 2 years, I think, or I don't know, maybe 2 years. I don't remember, but and so I dated around. It doesn't. You see the differences of like, okay, that was nothing, or that didn't make sense, or like it just, you kind of, you know, there's a huge, like you feel different.
Okay, someone said, feel like I'm settling, but I know social media makes people think there's always better. Thoughts?
In my opinion,
I feel like you're really good at this.
Yeah,
you can answer this one.
In my opinion, if you're questioning something, that's your intuition and your gut telling you that it's not right. And then your mind is trying to like convince you otherwise.
Rationalize.
Yeah, like rationalize it with your like hope. You know, like you hope that it works, or you want it to work because you've been single for so long and you finally met someone.
Or you invested so much time.
And you invested so much time and you're already in it for a couple of years. So it's like a lot. It's like that mix between like that feeling of like it is like your own body like kind of like battling with it, you know. But in my opinion, if you're second guessing, especially for like a long period of time, a couple months, 6 months, you know, sometimes years in certain relationships, if you're really questioning, then probably not for you.
Yeah.
Most likely, 99% not for you, because you don't question if it's for you. Like, yeah, will your fucking partner piss you off? Like, there's some shit she does like that pisses me off, but like, it's like, you know, it's like, again, it's not the thing. It's not a make or break. Exactly. It's not like he's bending his like knee to his morals and like how he expects to be treated or things like that. It's like little shit. Like I never
fixable stuff.
I'm the most indecisive person in my personal life, and never questioned it for a minute. Literally for a minute. Never questioned it. So like, but again, I've been in other relationships where I questioned it the entire time. And that, I think, was like, again, like my gut, intuition, universe, whatever, kind of like telling me. And then my hope was, like my conscious hope was, I really want this to work because I invested so much time. Or I wanted this to work because, you know, she is a nice person or he is a nice person. But again, the other person can be fantastic, but if they're not for you, they could be a great person, they could be an amazing job, and they could be beautiful or what, it doesn't matter. It has to be for you, for your palate.
Otherwise you're just settling.
Because there is somebody out there that is, you know, in most cases that are like that perfect puzzle piece fit. Will it be perfect all the time? Obviously not, but like you'll feel it.
Exactly. What was your routine when you were single? Did you go out? Were you on dating apps? I would ebb and flow with my routine depending on how, like, I don't know what other word to use for it, but like depressed I was, because I would go through like little waves of depression, just from like things I mentioned earlier in this vlog, like being away from family, all of that, living very far away. But when my routine was good, I would wake up in the morning, I would go for like a 30 to 45 minute walk. I would then go to the gym. No, I would come back home, eat a little bit, have my coffee, go to the gym, come back home, shower, get ready. I would literally get ready, like put on a cute outfit, do my makeup, go to a coffee shop, work for like 4 or 5 hours. Then I would maybe like do like an errand, like maybe like go to Whole Foods or like meet up with a friend, grab a little bite to eat or something, like do something social if I didn't work with someone at the coffee shop. Then just go back home. And when I was back home, this is when it was so important for me to like have a list of things that I like to do, whether it's like reading certain books or listening to certain podcasts, or like I would have like these like, I don't know what they're called, like not like workshop books, but like things where you actually, not like reading books, but things where you're like filling out like questions and like kind of get, it's basically like therapeutic. Painting, just making plans with people, like that's when it's really important, because I really feel like from like 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. if you're single, that's like the loneliest time. And that's when you can get like really like in your feels and feel really down on yourself. So I always try to keep that time really occupied, but for the most part I did have that routine. I did go out, but I didn't go out like clubbing, like out. My going out was going to dinner with girlfriends. My going out was going on girls trips. My going out was coming home to Boston. Yeah, I didn't go to clubs. I would just do dinner and like hang out with my like girlfriends. And what was the last one? Were you on dating apps? Yes, I was on dating apps. And I don't know. I don't know what to, like, I don't want to say they were bad, but they weren't great either. I did Raya and Hinge, and I don't know. I just feel like it was kind of meh. But people do find their partner on dating apps, so that's the reason why I was like, okay, let me give this a shot. I don't think I really like it. Did you like dating apps?
I did.
I think you need to meet someone.
I'll explain why though. But the reason why the apps were good for someone like me was I don't go out. Right?
I didn't go out like that either.
I know. So but listen, if you don't go out, you don't go to church.
Yeah.
You don't talk to many people.
Yeah.
How are you gonna meet someone?
Yeah, that's true. I think that's the only, you get the exposure to a lot of people
exactly.
at once, but it's like that doesn't mean they're like people that you vibe with.
No, you gotta go. You gotta put yourself out.
Yeah, exactly.
It depends. If you're willing to look for your person and you're very intentfully looking, you do it and you go on a shitload of dates. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not gonna be a one and done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just not. You're gonna go on a bunch of dates, coffee dates, regular dinner dates, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna spend some money as a man, or if you're fucking cheap, do whatever. But you know, you're a loser if you do that. But you're gonna go on dates, and then you're gonna see how it goes. Mm-hmm. But yeah, what's the good part about it? It's efficient. It's fast. If you match with someone, okay, step number 1's over. Mm-hmm. Step number 2 is just gonna, like, are we doing this or not? Yeah. We're gonna meet up or not? You meet up? Okay, cool. Are we gonna go on another one or no? Mm-hmm. No. Okay, good. Next. Like,
it's just exhausting. It's like it
is tiring. It is hard to keep up with, and it's super distracting as a business person. Mm-hmm. Like, as a business owner, like, you're constantly doing stuff, and you're like, fuck, you know, I got matches and bullshit. Like, sounds kind of ridiculous, but it is. It's like
I got matches.
Like, no, not like, fool, you gotta answer, but it's like,
I got a rose.
It's overwhelming because, like, you're like constantly, again, if you're intentfully doing it. Yeah. If you're doing it as a single man just to, like, go out and fuck, like, great. Like, you're gonna have a blast. Like, it's easiest thing ever. You're gonna have the funnest time ever. Mm-hmm. But if you're intentfully, like, looking for something, it's gonna be a little more stressful. But again, it's easier than fucking going out
and like trying to talk to
fishing
someone
with dynamite at a bar or club or at a church or something. Or at the gym. Like, it's very, very, very hard.
Gym, just don't do that.
Social media is the easiest thing. But again, you message a girl, the girl has 1,000 DMs already. You gotta get creative, and it's tough. But long story short, I liked the apps for what I wanted to do because I wanted to be very efficient. I don't want to waste fucking time. I don't want to waste more money. I didn't want to waste whatever. I want to meet a couple people. If it sucked, whatever. Because I knew in my environment.
It's like a numbers. It's like a numbers game. At the end of the day.
Go with 10, you're gonna like 2. You know? Out of the 2, you're gonna.
It's like stats 101.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
But if you're in Boston, I feel bad. If you're single in Boston, I swear to Christ, I feel very bad. It's very difficult. Female and male. I think the guys are better than the girls here by far. I think guys here are more creative, they're witty, they're blue collar, you know, like a lot of them are good shit. The women are entitled. They're, you know, they think they're gorgeous and they're just not. They're in a pool full of non-pretty people and they think they're this.
Okay, we're gonna, before you get canceled, let's just...
It's the truth. Long story short, a Boston 7 is at Austin, Texas, or Miami 2. And that's just the truth. It's a numbers game.
Yeah.
If you're a Boston 8 in Miami, you're literally a 4. And it is what it is. It is what it is. It's just the way the world works.
Tino hated being in Boston, clearly. How did you set boundaries / expectations in your relationship? Ooh.
Again, if you have to set if you have to set boundaries that are so high and so rigid, then it's like I don't know, like the boundaries we set up are like little shit.
Yeah.
It's not like major characteristic flaws that we have to change.
Yeah.
It's like little things you gotta adjust, and it's fucking simple.
How did you know you were ready to be in a healthy partnership? I knew I was ready to be in a healthy partnership when I no longer cared if I was in a partnership. I was happy either way. I was happy single, or if I was happy if I found someone. I think when you're desperately trying to find a relationship or desperately trying to find that person, it's not coming from a healed, I'm okay on my own kind of vibe. And it's ironic because the second that you start to feel okay on your own, the second you start to feel okay, it doesn't matter if it's meant for me, it's meant for me, whatever, you just kind of leave it up to the universe. That's ironically when you do find that person. So when I was no longer craving being in a relationship, when I was no longer reminiscing on old relationships, when I was just totally happy and content living my own life, doing my own thing, that's when I knew I was in a good place. Do you guys fight? How do you navigate disagreements? When we have, I don't know, we don't really fight about major things. We more so bicker.
We don't do shit.
Yeah, we don't.
What are you gonna fight about? I'm not going out. I'm not talking to girls. I'm not. They're financially we're okay. There's not what is there to?
Yeah, there's nothing to really fight about. And we have. I think this is where the expectations come in.
Social media is a lot of fighting. All I post is business stuff for the most part.
Yeah.
Her, she posts some crazy shit sometimes, thirst trap stuff. But I personally don't care about that stuff. I don't. I think her body is the most perfect thing ever. So if she wants to post it, go for it. You work for it. But there's some guys who are that's a fighting point. To me, I don't care.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that in typical relationships, especially social media, is a big problem.
Yeah.
For me and us, it's really not. I don't care.
We have conversations about it too. I've asked Tino previously, hey, I post a lot in bikinis and stuff like that, especially with my business Healthy Gut Club. And I let him know, hey, does this bother you? Because your opinion...
First off, you don't ask me.
No, I asked you before.
In the very beginning.
In the very beginning, yeah, I asked you.
Sunset, it's not every time she posts.
Oh, no, not every time. We had a conversation about it once, and he said, no, I don't care. And ever since then, it's been... Okay.
But I truly don't care. I'm not one of those people who says, I don't care, and I do care. No, I really don't care.
No, he really doesn't. So, I think having conversations about things that could be a little bit not risky, but prone to cause a fight before the fight actually happens is key. And when we do have disagreements, it's interesting how we disagree, because I feel Tino's very explosive and I feel I'm the opposite. I'm I retreat. I feel I want to think about things and I don't want to talk. Sometimes Tino's why aren't you saying anything? Talk. And I'm I'm just thinking. I take a long time to process. I'm usually the person in the argument that's hey, let's lower our voice. Hey, don't talk like that. We yell, but we're like, when we navigate conversations, we try to like not let it get explosive, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think if people don't argue, that's weird. Like, there has to be
an argument. It's true.
Tino has never been wrong in his life.
I should have been a lawyer.
I don't know if you know this fun fact, but Tino's never been wrong.
I should have been a lawyer.
It's so funny. Okay. Did you start dating around, or what was the journey of like restarting, if that makes sense? I think I touched on this in the beginning, but basically just taking time for myself, really just getting to know this new version of Cecilia, healing whatever ish I went through, realizing my own conditionings, my own patterns, realizing like I'm not perfect and I play a part in the like faults of what happened too, and taking ownership of that and growing from that. After that is all settled and done, that's when I was like, let's play and go on dates and, you know, all of that. And it's so much better, in my opinion, to date when you're completely over whatever has happened. So that's kind of how I did it. How did you do it?
What, date?
Yeah, did you just, what was the question? Did you start dating around, or what was the journey of like restarting?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I waited a little bit out of respect for my ex. And I think that there's a boundary there. You know, you don't just like jump in and start doing that. Like, it's completely disrespectful to the person you're with for so long.
Very true.
So I took my time. I didn't want to go on dates right away. I wanted to kind of heal out of myself and out of respect for the person I dated for so long. It's so disrespectful when I see people break up and then like 2 weeks later they're like posting with other guys or other girls, or like already have a boyfriend in like 3 weeks. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's just like, what? Like, I don't, you know, it's just like, it's a little much to me. I think it's disrespectful to the partner, and it almost makes you question a lot. You know, imagine meeting that person, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, meeting that girl who...
Which didn't happen to me, but I see it happen to other people, and I'm like, oh shit, that would bother the shit out of me, you know?
Mm-hmm. Best ways to get out of that stuck feeling. Best ways to get out of that stuck feeling. Things that helped you, like feeling stuck.
Get up and do shit.
Yes, and I think the number one thing to remember is that not every moment is going to be happy. Not every moment is going to be great. Like, when you're in this phase of life, you're going to have really good days, you're going to have okay days, and you're going to have some days that are just like flat out awful. It's okay. Just don't get stuck in thinking that awful day is your life.
And nothing's going to change if you don't do anything to change.
Yes, that's
like, if you're just
valid.
in a rut and you're doing the same routine in that rut, like, nothing's gonna like change. Like, you have to do something. Like, change your environment, go for a walk, go for a run, go, you know, break something up. You can go away for a weekend, go away, you know, with yourself or someone else. Like you gotta break it up. Like, you can't just like, you know, be in that thing. Like, there's something science-based. Like, you gotta break up that pattern.
Yep. You have to like literally change your environment.
Exactly.
For me, one thing that's huge is just girlfriends. You know, really lean on your girlfriends. I'm sure there's going to be times in their life when they're going to have to lean on you. Hopefully you have some really great friends and they're there for you no matter what time. You can call them, text them, vent. I have a couple really, really amazing girlfriends that I know no matter what, I could text and they're going to pick up, or they're going to call me and say, hey, are you okay? Like, blah, blah, blah. And that is crucial to have when you're going through a really crappy time. But you got to let your friends know that you're going through a bad time too. They can't read your mind. So I'm very open and honest with a couple of my really close friends on like things that are going on in my life. Like, hey, like, I'm really not doing well mentally. And like, obviously like showing them appreciation, like talking to them about the situation, but also being very honest. Like, I'm not okay emotionally and mentally right now. Like, I've said that to some of my friends. Like, I'm like not, like, I feel very unstable. I feel like I'm gonna cry at any moment. Like, I feel like I hate my life. Like, And those friends who are good friends are going to step up and be there for you. They're going to check in on you. They're going to, like I said, answer your text, answer your call, no matter what. So lean on that a lot when you're feeling in those stuck times. Things that help you manifest what you desire.
I think it's just like daily intentful thinking. You know, like always, I don't know, like almost always have it be top of mind. Whatever's like top of mind with your like thought is kind of what happens. You know what I mean? Like every single day, like you really want something that bad, and you're thinking about it, it's like the universe will slowly kind of bring you towards it.
Yeah, but you also have to like do the work to do that.
Yeah, I know. Daily remind yourself, again, when you write it out, you meditate on it, you can, I mean, there's certain practices and things you can do. That,
visualization, like, huge.
Yeah, sit down for 20 minutes the first thing in the morning. The best time to do all that stuff is when you first wake up and when you first go to bed. It's like when your brain is in like that theta state or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like your brain can like, I don't know, the exact science
absorb
all of it. But so in the morning, at night, you wake up in the morning, go to bed thinking. But the thing about visualization, I guess, is you're supposed to like visualize it, but like so visual to a point where you can like smell it, you can hear it, you can touch it. Like you have to get all your senses so dialed in on that image, on that video, like that video monologue in your head. It has to be so crystal clear. And then that same image, video, whatever, you have to constantly think about in those states or write it down in those, you know, morning night states. Again, I don't know, that's based off what I read. That's what like you're supposed to do, like in all the fucking books, but
yeah, those are all Z questions, so I hope that helped.
That's it. Fucking exhausted.
So exhausted. If it made no sense, I'm sorry. We were up until like,
we're even up late, dude. Like social battery.
We were up till like 2:30. Bye.